Hi everyone, so welcome back to our channel, that is a Generative Mind AI. So this is going to be the fourth video of MLOps. So in the last video we already covered about creating the account, creating the IAM role, and understanding the basic concept of the MLOps. So from this video we are going to start with all the services which is given by the AWS, which we are going to use in the MLOps concept. So this is going to be really interesting topic that we often say Amazon S3 or S3 bucket. It's going to be, the full form is basically simple storage services. I hope so by the word we are able to classify this is basically used for the storing any data. Clear? So by the definition of S3 we can just say Amazon simple storage services, that we often call as an Amazon S3, is a scalable object store services offered by the AWS, that is Amazon Web Services. So S3 allow user to store and retrieve any amount of data at any time. So this is going to be the plus point. You can just any, you want to upload any amount of data in like GB, TV even, and based on that even you can just retrieve that data, you can read that data at any time. It's available 24 into 7, you can just say. So we will also discuss the type of bucket which you are going to use, and based on that which bucket you can just have access, and which bucket is going to be really more scalable, or you can just say which bucket is going to be more highly available anytime. So this all thing we are going to cover in this video. And plus point of S3 bucket are the fundamental container in the S3 where data is stored. Basically you have a container, in that container you are storing a data, you can store any amount of data, and then after you can retrieve in any amount of data at any time. So this is what the concept or the simple definition of S3 is. So I hope so you just understand about the definition. So in this video we'll just see about the understanding of S3, so that we can in next video we can just go and practical create a S3 bucket at the AWS account. So we'll see this thing in the next video, but in this specific in this video we are going to see about the key points of S3, and then the next slide we are going to see about the type of S3 buckets. So let's see why we are using S3 for basically for we already know for the storing any data amount, any amount of data, and we can just retrieve, we can just read any amount of data at any time. Clear? So here are the key points. So there are some key points which I have explained here. So something is basically, with the first one we are going to see about the bucket naming. So bucket naming is basically S3 buckets name are globally unique across all of the AWS. So whenever you are creating the that is bucket name, it is going to be really unique. So they follow the DNS, domain name system, you can just say, naming convention, and can include lowercase letter, numbers, hyphens, and periods. The bucket name must be between the 3 and 63 characters in the length. Basically it's going to be say that whenever you are going to create a bucket name, that is going to be unique, so that that unique URL or whichever you are uploading in the specific path of the bucket, you can just share that URL across the all over the nation, and that URL is going to be really unique. You can just say, take example of domain is going to be unique domain, so no one has multiple domain with the same name. So that is the plus point of the S3 bucket, that is a bucket naming. Second, we will go with the versioning is basically can be enabled on the bucket to keep multiple version of the object. So this help with the data recovery and compliance. It the basically means that for the one specific data you are going to upload, and then suddenly there is new data has been come, so with the second version it is going to upload, and it is going to add whatever we have above data. Suppose the first time you are just having data of 100 images, and again you are going to add an extra 100 images, so it is going to create a new version. 100 plus 100 is going to add you the 200 total images. So this is how we are going to see about the versioning. The third point is basically object storage. So S3 is a object storage services, meaning it store data as an object. That's true. Everything you will see, whatever the data you are going to store, that is stored as an object. So each object consists of a data, a key unique within a bucket, and the metadata. Basically whenever you are creating a data, whenever you are creating a bucket, and then after you are storing a data, so every data is stored as an object, and every object consists of the data, means you have some unique ID for that. This is suppose you are uploading the cat and dog data for image classification. For that we will have a unique ID, ID. From that unique key, basically we call as a, from that key you are able to access all the data of the image, cat and dog. And this thing again we'll see in the practical part. The fourth thing is basically access control. So access to the S3 bucket is controlled through IAM policy. So you can, whenever we have the access, like whenever we have given some permission from that is root user, and in the root user if we have given admin permission or S3 storage all the services, you can just able to control that one. So with the help of access control we have the power. Basically IAM user have policy and bucket has the policy to control all the versioning of the S3, and you can define who can access your bucket and what action they can perform. So whenever you are going to share some specific path, so either they can upload only data or they can just make change on that S3 bucket. Because most of the time whenever you are sharing any S3 path, or where you can just upload the data, but you can upload the data, but you sometimes you could not delete anything from that specific data centric part. So where we are uploading that specific path, you can upload the data, you can download the data, that's, and then after you could not delete any data from the specific S3 bucket. So this thing again we will see in the practical part, how we can just change the settings in the S3, and then after suddenly whenever we are just trying to add any new data, we are able to upload, but we are able to download the data. But again whenever it comes to the you want to just remove some data, or you want to clear all the S3 buckets, so that is not possible. So again this is the what IAM user, I with the help of IAM policies we are able to keep some settings and this all thing. So yeah, we'll see this thing again in the practical part. And the fifth thing is basically buckets creation. So bucket creation, basically you can just create your S3 bucket with the help of AWS management console. We'll see how in the next video how we are able to see how we are able to create a S3 bucket with the help of AWS management console. Even you can create with the help of CLI, that is a command line interference, sorry, a command line interface. And also you can just use any software SDK, like software development kits, anything. It might be app that is going to be integrated with the AWS, and from there you are able to create the S3 path. So I hope so you are able to understand about the key points. So that was all the basic key points. And this is basically the type of S3 simple storage services. The first type is basically S3 standard. So S3 standard is going to be the, you can just say it's going to be by default we are going to use S3 standard. So it is frequently available, so you can access the data at any time. It's going to be accessed within a millisecond, and even in the less. And the cost of this specific S3 standard is going to be optimized, so we don't have to pay that much high cost. And the plus point of this S3 standard is that it is frequently available. You can add any amount of data in this, and you can access any amount of data at any time. So that is going to be your the default setting. The second is basically S3 intelligent tiering. So again this is the second type, where it is again access frequency. So it depends upon what type of requirement we have and which type of data you want to create, and it's going to be somewhat different version from the S3 standard. They are data with the changing access pattern. So if you have a data something like cat and dog, again you want to change something pattern, and another version of the cat you are going to store. So all the versioning you want to keep, so you can go with the S3 intelligence. And again it has also capacity to access at any time. It is giving you in the millisecond access. And this is what you are able to see, that 0.0125 per GB are the charges which you need to pay, and monitoring fee per object. So you will have something monitoring by, it is going to given by the AWS system security. So they are going to monitor your data, so that is it is going to be really secure. And minimum storage duration, this thing as the part of the S3 intelligent tiering. The third thing is basically S3 standard IA. Again infrequently access data, so you can just say it's again you are able to access in the millisecond access. And what's the cost of this, you are able to see 0.0125 per GB, and retrieve fee per GB, minimum storage duration, minimum object size. So these are basically, I don't want to go in much detail. So it basically they are the type which you are able to see. S3 one zone IA. So S3 one zone IA recreatable less access data. So you don't have not if like some of the data you want to store, but you want to access within 1 week or 2 week, or even you can say 1 month. So that is a less kind of access data. So you don't have to again the cost of this might be reduced, and it's going to be give you minimum storage duration, minimum object size, and this all thing is going to be under the S3 1 zone IA. The fifth one is basically S3 Glacier instant retrieval. So basically it archives data with the fast access. So again, whenever you want to access any data with the fast access and within the milliseconds, again the cost is going to be really high, and you are able to see the cost paying between 0.04 0.4, and this is how we are able to see S3 Glacier instance time. And again the sixth type is basically S3 Glacier flexible retrieval. So again, I don't want to go again in much details. This is the way where you are able to get an access within 5 minutes, 10 minutes, or more than 1 hour. So you have the archival data where you want to just keep a data. You don't need that data, but it might be used after 5 months, 1 year. So for that you are able to keep secret for that specific data. Again, the cost is really low as compared to the any of the simple storage services. And the last is basically S3 Glacier Deep Archive. So Deep Archive is basically infrequent. So whenever you want to store some data for a long time, like 5 years till 10 years, you don't need that data, but you want to keep that data. You are going to keep that data in the S3 Glacier Deep Archive, where you don't need to access every time. Like it won't available frequently, it won't give you a response within a milli of seconds. If you are going to access, if you are going to hit a command, I need to access this specific data, it is going to give you after 1 hour or 2 hour, or within, you can say within one day it will take time. Okay, and again you can just see the cost is 0.000099. So the cost is really low for this specific type of S3 Glacier Deep Archive. And minimum storage duration you can just set for any number of storage device. So in the all the type of data, all the type of S3, you will find one thing common is that you can store any amount of data. So it's whenever you are up to use. So I will say you, like S3 standard is going to be whenever it is used, suppose for any image classification object detection model you are working on, and you want that data every time within whenever you are just retraining your model after every 15 days or 1 month, at that time you need your data every time available. So you can go with the S3 standard or S3 intelligent diaring, where we are able to see the version control clear. And but there is last two type you are able to see: S3 Glacier flexible retrieval and S3 Glacier deep archive. They are the type of storage type where you, whenever you are keeping a data and you are going to say you are going to store for more than 5 years or 10 years of for the long term archive data, so in that position you can go with the last two one. So depends upon which type of storage services you are going to use. That depends upon your requirement, what type of data you want to keep, and for the how many long period of time you want to keep. So this was all about overview of type of S3. So we don't have to go much in detail each and every type, but again in the next video I'll show you how we can just create a S3 bucket, and with the help of S3 bucket how we can just upload any data. And by default we are going to use the S3 as a standard bucket. And again I will show you the type of different type of simple storage services. This is going to be really standard. You will have many type of other simple storage services, but this is going to be the main important part of simple storage service. The, you can just say the top seven most important simple storage services type. But again there are again some different type of available in the AWS. I will show you in the AWS console whenever we have a dashboard in it. Okay, so that's all about the simple storage services. I hope so you understand about the simple storage services, that is S3. The key points I will explain you again. Basically S3 bucket is going to be used for storing any amount of data, so that you can retrieve, you can just run that data you for any deep learning or AI system. And then after, second thing is for training your data. And second thing is that what you want to select, which type of simple storage services you want to select, that depends upon your requirement. If you are okay with the ST standard type, for the every time you are going to see about the training of the model with the different models, you can go with the ST standard. But whenever every 15 days 20 days you have an extra amount of data is going to be added, you can go with the S3 intelligent dialing. So it depends upon your requirement. Or if you are going for the long term where you don't need that data, you need only after 5 years 6 years or 10 years, you can go with the S3 Glacier deep archive. So that's all for this S3 bucket. In the next video we are going to see about the in creating a S3 bucket in the Amazon Amazon services. So we'll see about the practical things how we can just go through. So that's all for this video. Thank you.